I'm going to talk about humanist school speakers. Now, the whole business of schools and RE is a big thorny subject. The humanists, I showed you earlier some of their campaigns, and we have some quite strong objectives. We want integrated, inclusive community schools that are secular, and we want to get rid of state-funded religious schools. A third of all government-funded schools are religious in this country, which is quite exceptional in the world, well, certainly in Europe. And we want to get rid of discrimination in terms of admissions and also appointment of staff. And we want to get rid of, certainly, we want to get rid of some of these illegal schools, some of which are fundamentalist and very oppressive. We want to get rid of a collective worship. We can talk about that more if you want later. And we basically just want a broad education where people learn to live in a pluralist society, that they have good sex and relationship education, values and citizenship education, and they're encouraged to develop curiosity and thinking skills and creativity. That's what we all want. And we want to reform the religious education. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but one of the main things they're doing now is encouraging people to go into schools. These are called school volunteers. Now, I'm on the SACRE for Shropshire. That's to say the Standing Advisory Committee on Religious Education. It's set up by the local education authority, and we actually write the RE curriculum for the Shropshire State Schools. It's used by all the Shropshire State Schools. The religious schools are, Church being the ones that encourage to use it, they tend to not use it quite the same way there. And it's very good. Teachers are encouraged to talk about non-religious worldviews, including humanism. But of course, many of the teachers don't know much about it, and they don't have the skills to go in and talk about it. So basically, school speakers can go in and talk about humanism, and I'll give you an example in a moment. Quite often we're asked to go in and talk about ourselves, how we became a humanist, why it's important to us, what it means to us, and how we think it will affect other people. We're often asked to come and give a humanist perspective. I was asked to go into Adam's When recently. They had a module where they're looking at different faiths, looking at family relationships, same-sex marriages, abortion, and other issues like that. And they asked me to go in to discuss the humanist perspective on it. And it was very, very interesting. Lovely class, very interesting. A great RE teacher. Some schools have an RE day where they get people from lots of different faiths coming in. And again, that's fun as well. And we can help individual pupils, and we can also help teachers with their RE courses, and we can sometimes go in to multi-faith panels. I went into multi-faith panel at Thomas Telford School. There was an Orthodox Jew, not ultra-Orthodox. There was a fairly fundamentalist Muslim, a Pentecostal Christian, and a Baha'i. Baha'i was absolutely delightful. They was up. The other three were all fundamentalist. So when we were asked questions, I let them go first. And I just grinned because they just shot themselves in the foot. Anyway, and then I gave, a rational, evidence-based humanist answers to them. And yeah, it was great. All right, then we work with teachers. So, let me give you an example. So I might get a phone call from the head of an RE, asking me to give help with their RE teaching. Now, if I haven't met them or been to that school before, I would go in and meet the teacher and sit down with them so they realise that I'm a pretty benign guy. I'm not an angry atheist. I'm not against religion. And I will present humanism for what it is. It's positive values rather than bad-mouth religion. And the topic that I might be asked is, what is humanism? And I'll obviously need to find out who I'm going to talk. So 15-year-olds, not easy 15-year-olds. This is also called Year 10, Key Stage 4, these are technical terms which I've had to learn. And you find out how long you're going to talk for, 40 minutes of 15 questions. So what would I do? Well, it's very easy, because the Humanist UK have a programme called What is Humanism, with PowerPoint and everything. So what I do is I use this. This is the beginning of the PowerPoint, and I'll just show you the slides. Far more slides than you'd use in 40 minutes. If you just use the red ones, it would be about the right time. But you can pick and choose, because some of the subjects are dealt with a little bit more, or a little bit less. So you can actually tailor it to what the teacher's interested in, and what you're interested in, what you feel will work well for you. So this is how it might go, so for 15 years. You say, okay, so we're all human. So we're all human, and we talk about what's important to us, human values, and so on. With each slide, there is a little text that comes with it, which you can, if you want, use to speak, but it's actually just more an idea of giving you ideas, or if they ask questions, to answer them, to develop the sort of themes on each slide. We talk about human creativity and how we value science. Science has produced many wonderful things. It's meant to produce some things that aren't so good as well. And we talk about empathy and compassion as well. What it means to be a humanist. So there's a series of slides that go on. Are we religious? And we maybe have to discuss with them what religion is, what it means, and so on. So that's just the beginning of this series of PowerPoint slides that could be used for talking about humanism very easily. Now another example. I get a phone call from Hirvari. If I haven't met them, I meet them again. Now this one wants me to talk about secularism, and it's for 17-year-olds, so the lower sixth. Now this is great fun, because once they're in the sixth form, they're much less belligerent, they're more engaged, and it's great. And I'm told it's quite short, 30 minutes, 20 minutes for discussion. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a module called Secularism and Society. And I just need to take you through this is the Humanists' homepage. You probably recognise this. And along the top, you've got some pull-down. So if you click on the education one, you get this pull-down thing. And we're going to go for the teachers. And if you do that, it goes straight to Understanding Humanism, RE Teaching Resources. And this is a fantastic resource for information about humanism and teaching humanism. And this is the home page for Understanding Humanism. Now it looks a bit busy, but actually it's quite simple. I'll just point out a couple of things. This is a book, some copies on the back over there, called What is Humanism? It's a very lively book, lots of pictures. It's made to primary schools and perhaps some of the younger secondary school pupils. But look, across the middle there, you've got different age groups. That's the book. And it's free to every school, and it's easy to get extra copies and give them to teachers if you want. They do appreciate it. So, if you look across the middle there, you've got different age groups. You've got this age group, and if you click on that, you'll get the sort of subjects for which you have teaching resources. What is humanism? Belief and knowledge, meaning and happiness. These are for quite young children, and the presentations are quite simple, but interesting. So the older age group, you also have ethics, and you might have atheism and agnosticism. Getting a bit older now, we're coming on to secondary school, life and death, ethics, meaning and happiness. Slightly older, other subjects as well. And then you get on to the sixth form, and there are less subjects there, but what you do have is something called human perspectives. So let's just look at that. This is get a humanist view on life's fundamental questions or in a contemporary ethical debate. Many of our perspectives also contain presentations, questions, ideas for activities, and links to further resources and information. So these are the various things that in the little squares there, but I've written out the topics on the other side, and there are others as well. And you can see there are modules for teaching about controversial things like assisted dying, or euthanasia as they call it on this one, environmental issues, vegetarianism, abortion, theodicy, the problem of evil, and so on. So what I was looking for was something on secularism. So let's go back and click on this one, and we get Secularism and Society. Click on that. What is the humanist vision for a better world. What kind of society do humanists strive for? What is secularism and why is it important to humanists? Find out what humanists work for and what lies behind their motivation. So, we click on that, and we get this. There's a huge amount of resource here. And it's probably beautiful to see, so I'm going to enlarge some of it. So the top two there, these are a series of short videos and films, and some of them cartoons, quite a few of them by Andrew Copson. They're really lively, really interesting. You show them, they're asked about sort of 5 minutes, and then you discuss them on various aspects of secularism. If you go to the bottom here, we've got more films on the left, and some really interesting ones. You've got the Harm Principle, John Stuart Mill. We've got The Veil of Ignorance, which is all about John Rawls's theories, Stephen Pinker, and so on. And then on this side here, you've got a document written by Richard Norman, a prominent, an internationally prominent humanist philosopher, and he's written this article, which runs into several pages, and these are the sort of topics on it. Now, if you were to read this, it's very readable, very interesting, you would know 10 times, 100 times more than the pupils, and probably 3 times more than the teachers. So, when you say, oh, I've got to go and talk about secularism, you've got absolutely, you've got more than enough for a class there, and if they're difficult to engage, you can show videos, and you'll know a lot about it. And so I'm saying this because, you know, when I first started going to schools, I thought, well, I know a bit about humanism, but what if they ask difficult questions? But this makes it much easier. Now, my third example, this is a sort of nightmare example. You get a phone call to come in, and arrange to meet if not, and they want to talk about how do you know what's true. Now, that's a nice subject. That's what we call epistemology, the theory of knowledge. And I'm very interested in that as a scientist. But it's to 11-year-olds, and the teacher says, they're a lively class. That means they're either going to sit there glum, or they're going to be totally out of control, with very little in between. So I quite enjoy these things. I like challenge. So we've got 30 minutes and 20-minute discussion. So what I'd probably do is I'd sort of make something up. This is sort of what I'd do. Okay. So I'd take them through it a little bit. I'd say, well, what do we mean by when we believe something? What do we have faith in something? Well, I say, well, basically to believe something is to say you think something is true. There may be evidence, there usually is, but there may not be, but it's basically sort of a statement, you think something's true. Faith is to say something is true when there really is either no or insufficient evidence. And to have blind faith is to say something's true when there's clear evidence to the contrary. So they understand that and say, okay, so let's do this. What's that? 2 and 2, theory of evolution, the sun is hot. Well, I think we all believe those. And there's good reason to believe those because there's good evidence. So that's belief. And then belief in God, belief in alternative medicine, belief in miracles. Well, there is either no evidence or I would consider myself insufficient evidence to believe in those. So I would say that was a faith issue. And then, of course, you've got belief in the flat world creation, or that Shrewsbury will win the FA Cup. And I think there's very good evidence that those are not true. So you establish that, okay? And then you say, well, humanists, obviously, we believe that everything can be explained naturally without the supernatural. We look at the facts, we think hard, and we make up our own minds. That's what humanists do. So let's do this. Now we'll do it with you. I say to them, you're on a jury, okay? And there's a guy in the dock being accused of murder. So if you get the kids to shout out answers, as soon as they're shouting, they start misbehaving. They start hitting each other and throwing things. So you mustn't let them speak. If any of you are teachers, I'm probably sound completely wrong. So what I do is this. I give them what the witnesses say, and they give their answers with their arms. So you're looking here, okay? So I'm going to say something. The first witness says, he's guilty because he's foreign. Now, if you think that's good evidence, you point that way. If you think it's bad evidence, you point that way. Let's see. Now, why haven't you got your hand up? You, come. So you see what I'm doing? Get everybody involved. Some pointing one way, some another, and some change. And then you talk about it, and you say why you think it might be good evidence or bad evidence. And I really, that's what comes under heading is bad evidence and prejudice. Okay, the next one. My friend's mother's hairdresser's aunt said, okay. So, you know, this is hearsay, this is just gossip. You like it, you. Well, maybe she did know, but there's no evidence that she did. I read it in the newspaper that he killed him. Now, is that good evidence? Let's say your answer. Is it good evidence or bad evidence? Yeah, you see, now you're probably going to put your hand up there. Because you say, so some will say, you know, so I would myself, I would sort of be about here. The reason is this. Newspapers usually tell us the truth. If you say it rained yesterday, it did. Fulham won the football cup, it probably did. Usually, newspapers do tell us the truth. But how do they know this? And also, newspapers don't always get it right. So I would say this was bad evidence, but it's worth discussing. Okay. I read in the newspaper he killed him. I forgot that. Okay, right. His fingerprints match those on the murder weapon. Agreed? Okay. Oh, good evidence. So I'm looking down. I'm looking a little bit around. Okay. Right. Everyone thinks he did it. Well, mind you, usually everybody thinks something. It's true. Everybody thought the world was flat at one time. They were wrong. But usually, everybody thinks something is right. We all know exceptions. But how does everybody know? They haven't looked at the evidence. So I think probably you would say that was bad. Something everybody's wrong. The important thing is that they don't just have a knee-jerk reaction. They think about it and try and explain why they think it's wrong. I just know you. I know in my heart. Intuition. Intuition is very, very powerful. And for many things, we can just base things on intuition. We have a very powerful brain. We can't always explain why we make decisions, but they're often very, very good decisions. But not always. Sometimes gut instinct or intuition can be very wrong. I know you had a motive to kill him. What do you think? Yeah, I think you're going to point to good evidence. Not proof, but suggestive. So, humanists use the same rules of evidence, so we don't believe in ghosts, gods, and spirits, and miracles, and the effect of prayer, and afterlife, and the supernatural. But the same rules as the jury would use in that trial. Okay, so that's just 3 examples of the sort of thing you might do going to school. And it's fun. It's really fun getting involved with the children. The RE teachers are, without exception, delightful people and very, very keen to learn about humanism. And I really enjoy doing it. And in fact, it's the teachers I want to impress as much as the pupils. Obviously, that class is good, they know it. But the more we can persuade the teachers that we're a useful resource for coming in and talking about normative ethics. How do we know what's right and wrong without a Bible? In fact, I'm probably going to talk more about that than about humanism, although of course I slip in a little bit of humanism as well. So, school volunteering. To do it, you apply online. The training is very good. And as you can see, you get detailed lesson plans and PowerPoint presentations, lots of videos, you have handouts, and you have class activities. So it's not a difficult thing to do, and it's a very good post-training support. The training is at weekends, and when you're trained, you can do as little as you like. The first year I just did 2 in the whole year. Now I'm doing about 5 or 6 schools a year, and that's not a big commitment. I'd like to do more, but I'm a bit busy with other things at the moment. And one really enjoys getting to know the schools and the RE teachers. I enjoy teaching about humanism. I enjoy getting better at teaching. I enjoy making a difference to the pupils. I enjoy raising the profile of humanism. Walking the walk, not just talking the talk. And that's humanism in action.